April 14, 2021. President Biden announces he's going to follow through on the U.S. government's agreement made with the Taliban and will start withdrawing troops from Afghanistan.
The United States will begin our final withdrawal, begin it on May 1 of this year. We'll not conduct a hasty rush to the exit. We'll do it responsibly, deliberately, and safely.
July 6th. The U.S. military confirms they left Bagram Airfield.
The final U.S. troops who were based at Bagram's largest air base there are now leaving, and the rest of U.S. troops not far behind.
August 15th. The Taliban enters the capital of Kabul without having to fight. The full evacuation of the U.S. Embassy begins, and people start flooding Hamid Karzai International Airport. August 26th. A suicide bomber, who was part of ISIS-K, detonates an IED at Abbey Gate, killing over 100 Afghans and 13 U.S. service members.
We are hearing about an explosion that has just taken place at the airport in Kabul.
Among the 13 was Marine Lance Corporal Kareem Nikoui. Lance Corporal Nikoui wanted to be a Marine from a very young age. As a kid, he was always working towards the goal of earning the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. At age 18, that dream became a reality. What was his favorite part about being a Marine?
The efforts he had to put in to be one. He loved the work, doing the work they had to put in. He loved training. He loved everything about being a Marine. The brothers that he made.
2 years later, Kareem was deployed to the Middle East. His mother, Shana, was proud, but that pride quickly turned to fear when Kareem received orders to relocate from Jordan to Afghanistan to assist with the evacuation.
And I know this is probably wrong to say, but I was calling my friends and I was saying Biden's going to get my son killed. I became very concerned, especially with the way that withdrawal was going, how quickly it was happening, stuff like that. I knew something bad was going to happen. I could feel it in my gut. And I expressed that to Kareem that I was worried about him. I made him promise me he was going to come home. He wouldn't do it. I let him know how much I love him. And then we didn't hear from him again for a little while because he had gotten sent to Kabul.
On the morning of August 26th, Shana woke up with an uneasy feeling. She immediately knew something was wrong.
I immediately start texting him, asking him to please text me. I need to know he's okay, letting him know how much I love him. And then I jumped in my truck and I went to my daughter's house. I hadn't turned on the news. I went to my daughter's house, who lives down the street. And I said, you need to turn on the news. I have to watch the news. And she turned on the news and it said, I think 4 wounded. And as soon as I seen 4 wounded, I told my daughter, I said, one of those is your brother. I did a lot of praying and praying to God that he makes sure my son gets home to me and not to his home up there. And then I started feeling better. I thought, yeah, I'm just overthinking. So I took my youngest son to a football game at his school, and I went to my friend's house, and then ended up going home. And when I walked through the door, Kareem's dad, as soon as he said my name, I already knew. So after that, I really don't remember much because I couldn't stop screaming. I couldn't stop screaming. My body was shaking. I couldn't breathe. It was horrible.
Days later, Kareem and 12 other service members returned home to Delaware Air Force Base. Shana didn't waste the opportunity to confront President Biden about her son's death.
The meeting with Biden was, I don't even know if the dude is all there. When I was face to face with him, I made sure to make eye contact with him. I remember his wife, she went to shake my hand and I didn't give her my hand. I just looked at her and then I looked at Biden and I told him, I don't actually want to talk to you. And he said, okay then. And he went to turn to walk away. And I said, but I'm going to out of respect for my son. My son is Lance Corporal Kareem Nikoui. And as soon as I started, I told him, I was angry, so I was doing the mommy whisper. Because when you're that was coming out. And there was tears coming out because I was frustrated, angry, and I'm hurt that I don't have my son. And I'm looking at the man that I feel is responsible for my son's death. And as soon as I started saying, I'm never going to get to hug my son again. I'm never going to see him. I'm never going to hear his laugh. He interrupted me and started talking about his son. about his son. And I remember looking at him and going, what are you doing? And then I said something along the line, this isn't about your son, this is about my son. And I told him he had no business talking about his son. And then I started again talking about my son. And then he said, I just wanted to let you know how I feel. At that point, now I'm even more angry because he said he'd brought up his son because he just wanted to let me know how he feels. I probably sound like I didn't care that he'd lost a kid, and I didn't mean for it to sound that way. It's his son died of cancer. So they had time to be there, spend time with him, tell him goodbye. My son died because of the very man that I was talking to. And then he ended up turning his back on me to walk away. And that's when I yelled, hey, Biden. And he turned around. And I said, you know, my son's blood is on your hands, right? And I said, all 13, their blood is on your hands. And he turned his back on me again and waved his hand behind his back and walked away. As if like the way he makes it seem is he looks at our boys as if they're disposable and replaceable. That's how I feel he looks at them.
So I know during the dignified transfer, there was a bit of a controversy because he
kept checking his watch.
So it was more than one time?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I think it was probably the 5th time or 3rd time I seen him do it. I had made the comment, what's he keep checking for? Is it nap time? He checked it again. I said, if he keeps checking his watch, I'm going to end up saying something. Because I was feeling very disrespected. Our kids are being brought off this plane in metal boxes. We're excited that our kids are home, but it's a different type of excitement. It's just that finally we have our kids home, we can lay them to rest. Not the type of excitement, cool, we're gonna get to hug our kid and tell him how much we missed him. No. It was our kids were being brought home in metal boxes, and this man is looking at his watch like he has someplace better to be or something more important to do. And I just felt so disrespected. Like, it was an unbelievable feeling. And so even on the way home, when we left to come back home, I became very angry. By the time I got home, I had posted a message on Facebook, and then Facebook and Instagram shut down my accounts. It went viral that had happened. It even made it to the news, so they gave me back my account saying it was an accident, which it's not, because my original Instagram account, they deleted again in April and never gave it back. I had to make a new one because I started speaking out more again, because I want people to know, like, I run into people who've never even heard about what happened in Kabul. And I explained to them, well, that's because this administration is in fear. If too many people find out the truth about Kabul, it could make people maybe rise up. And they don't want that. They have people how they want them right now, fearful, doing what they want them to do. It's actually disgusting. I'm disgusted with our country right now.
What do you think the DOD and the Biden administration could have done differently to have avoided
this? They could have had an actual plan, which they didn't. They kind of just threw our kids in there and was like, let's just get this withdrawal happening. And here I'm grieving Kareem, but at the same time I'm very angry because that shouldn't have happened, didn't have to happen, and wouldn't have happened under Trump's administration. Other countries fear Trump. They know he's good on his word. Other countries do not fear Biden. It happened under Biden's administration. For one, sorry for saying this, but this is a very cowardly administration, a very corrupt and dishonest administration. They think they're above and beyond everything, so they do what they want and don't care what people think. Have you guys ever heard this administration say our kids' names? Ever? No. Why would they? That would just remind people of his failure, because that withdrawal was nothing but a failure. He calls it success.
No nation has ever done anything like it in all of history. Only the United States had the capacity and the will and the ability to do it, and we did it today. The extraordinary success of this mission was due to the incredible skill, bravery, and selfless courage of the United States military and our diplomats and intelligence professionals.
There was nothing successful about that withdrawal. And then the cover-ups and the lies. There was gunfire. They don't want to talk about the gunfire. They don't want to talk about any of the boys being hit by gunfire. They want to cover that up because, once again, it makes this already failed administration look even more like failures. He was doing a job that he loved, and he knew the dangers that were present that day. They had been warned. They had been warned. 2 gates were shut. There was 3 gates open. 2 were shut. Abbey Gate was left open. They had been warned that there was going to be a suicide bomber, and he still did his job because he wanted to make sure he got people to safety and to freedom, and he continued doing his job. He could have tried to go hide somewhere or something. He didn't. He stayed right there on the front and did his job. He is a true hero. He was putting others before he put himself. The whole Kabul situation is just, it's horrible. It's one of Biden's biggest failures.
It's been a year since Kareem's death, but Shana still feels like it happened just yesterday.
Since the 1 year is approaching, it's making it more real. So I was getting more, I guess, upset. Hurting 24/7, trying to find ways to not feel like that. But then at the same time, I'm extremely angry because there's been no justice of any type, none whatsoever.
With the anniversary of Kareem's death approaching, the year-long struggle of losing him hasn't gotten any easier. But Shana wasn't the only one struggling with that reality.
Dakota has been missing Kareem a lot. He's been expressing it. I'm grieving, so I couldn't see the signs that Dakota was throwing out there. I'm sorry. He also was expressing how upset he was with this administration for taking his brother. And he kept saying things like he just wanted to be with them, and instead of me realizing he meant like right now, I would just say we all want to be with him, we all want him back. And then on the 9th, the morning of the 9th, he took his own life. So I'm gonna do what he had asked. Like a week before he had passed, he had said if something ever happened to him, he wanted to be buried by Kareem. Yeah, so he'll be here with his brother.
Having not only lost Kareem, but also her son Dakota, Shana has a message for Joe Biden, the man she feels is responsible for turning her life upside down.
If I could be face to face with him right now, I would let him know that he's a coward. I'd let him know what a horrible job he is doing. He's a failure. He's always been a failure in everything that he does. He always will be a failure. I would call him a traitor because he's also a traitor. I would let him know what a very disrespectful human being he is. 13 kids gave up their lives for this country, and he couldn't even say their names. Now I don't want him saying my kid's name. I don't want my kid's name ever coming out of that mouth. I would let him know that he showed what a coward he was when he immediately made sure that everything about Kabul disappeared and wasn't talked about anymore because he doesn't want people to know. He's a failure. He's destroying our country. He is destroying everything about our country. He's destroying lives and our country. And it's sad because we're all allowing it. We can all do something about it. But there's just too many people that are living in fear right now, and I don't know why, because there's nothing I would fear of this administration. How can you fear a bunch of cowards? All 13 lives do matter.